The house was quiet that night. Dinner plate stacked, television humming low. The children argued over which cartoon to watch, while their father read the paper. Then, a sound, a sharp scrape. At first, no one noticed, but the family's old tabby, Luna, had moved from her usual perch on the window ledge. She sat stiffly in front of the basement door, her yellow eyes locked on the wood. Her tail twitched. Scratch, scratch. The youngest giggled. She wanted a mouse. But Luna didn't look playful. Her claws dragged again, slower this time. She gave a low, urgent cry, the kind that made the children fall silent. "She never does that," the mother whispered. Minutes passed. The cat refused to leave. She pressed her body against the door as if guarding it. When they tried to move her, she hissed and darted back, planting herself in the same spot. The laughter faded. Unease filled the room. Finally, the father sighed, folded his paper, and stood. His hand reached for the doorknob. Luna arched her back. Her growl rose deep in warning. Something waited behind that door. What would you do if your pet acted this way? Subscribe and see what happens next. The doorknob turned with a tired creak. The hinges moaned. A thin gust of air slipped out from the dark below. It wasn't the smell of damp wood or dust, the kind they expected. It was sharper, feral, like something that didn't belong inside a house at all. The father wrinkled his nose. What on earth? Before he could finish, Luna bolted. The cat was a blur of fur and claws, slithering past his legs and vanishing down the steps. Her tail flicked once in the air before the dark swallowed her completely. "Luna!" the youngest cried. The mother pulled him close. The light bulb at the top of the stairs flickered, dim and weak. Shadows stretched like fingers down the stairwell. The father stepped forward, each tread groaning beneath his weight. His wife hesitated, then followed. The children clung to her sides. Boxes lined the basement walls, some collapsed, others chewed and torn. The concrete floor bore scratches, fresh and jagged. A jar of nails had tipped, scattering across the ground like teeth. The mother's voice was hushed. Did a raccoon get in? No one answered. From the far corner came the sound of shifting, a faint drag, the echo of movement that was not theirs. The children froze. The father held out an arm as if to shield them. Luna appeared again in the weak light, her back arched, her ears flat. She wasn't attacking. She was circling, guarding. Her gaze never left the far wall. The father swallowed hard. "Stay here." But the children clung tighter. "Don't leave us." He sighed, his breath tight, and took another step. The light above flickered again, buzzing, threatening to die. For a moment the room plunged into half-darkness, then shivered back to life. More boxes lay overturned against the far wall. Their corners gnawed, their sides damp. Something had been down here longer than a night, longer than a week. The scratching sound rose again, this time followed by a faint thud. And then breathing, not steady, not human, shallow, broken, as if each inhale fought against silence itself. The mother's hand flew to her mouth. The father whispered, "Who's there?" His voice cracked in the cold space. The sound paused. Luna crept forward, her paws silent on the concrete. The family could hear her growl vibrating low in her throat. She crouched, ready, as if preparing to defend them. The shadows shifted. Something was there. The youngest whimpered. The mother bent down, clutching him close. Her eyes, wide and glistening, stayed fixed on the darkness. "Come out," the father said, louder this time. The basement answered with silence. Then the faintest shuffle. Luna hissed, the sound tearing through the still air. She leapt forward, stopping only feet from the corner. Her body was rigid, trembling. The mother couldn't breathe. Every instinct told her to take her children back upstairs. But her feet rooted to the ground. She couldn't move. The father crouched low, reaching for the scattered jar of nails, gripping it like a weapon. Another shuffle. Louder, closer, and then 2 points of light. Not the glint of metal, not the reflection of glass. Eyes, glowing faintly in the dark, fixed on them. The mother gasped, her voice sharp and broken. The breathing grew louder, ragged, desperate. Something was alive in their basement. Something waiting, watching. What would you do if you saw glowing eyes in the dark of your own home? Subscribe and prepare for the truth behind the door. The glow of those eyes froze the family in place. The father's grip tightened on the jar of nails. The mother's arms circled around her children, holding them close. Luna crouched low, her growl deep and steady. Then came a whimper, soft, fragile, not the sound of a threat, but of something broken. The eyes shifted, blinking against the light. The shape in the corner dragged itself forward, paws slipping weakly on the cold concrete. The mother gasped. It's a dog. There, curled against the wall, lay a puppy. Its fur was matted with filth, its ribs jutting sharply through its tiny frame. Mud and dust clung to its body. Its eyes, round, glistening, pleaded silently for help. The children cried out at once. A puppy! A puppy! They tried to run forward, but their mother held them back. The father lowered the jar, his own face twisting with disbelief. What on earth is a dog doing down here? The basement was silent, but for the sound of the animal's trembling breaths. Each rise and fall of its chest looked like a battle, its tail tucked tight between its legs. Luna, the cat, moved first. She padded toward the corner, slow and cautious. Her back still arched, but the growl in her throat softened. She sniffed the air, then sat directly in front of the pup. The puppy whined, then pressed its nose weakly toward her paw. Instead of lashing out, Luna lowered her head. She let the puppy nuzzle close, her body curling slightly to shield it from the family's approach. The mother's eyes filled with tears. She's protecting it. The children tugged at her sleeves. Can we keep it? Please? Please, Mom, don't let anyone take it. The father shook his head. His voice was firm, though even he looked shaken. We don't know where it came from. Someone must be missing it. We'll have to call animal control. Or the police. No, the children wailed. The puppy let out a faint whimper at the noise, shrinking deeper into the shadows. The father rubbed his temples, his jaw tight. A dog doesn't just appear in a basement. Someone put it here. The words hung heavy in the air. Someone put it here. The mother turned, staring at the scratched boxes, the gnawed cardboard. It's been trapped for days, maybe longer. The pup coughed weakly, then curled into itself, shivering. The sight broke something in her. We can't just hand it over, she whispered. Not yet. Look at him. He won't survive another night. The father hesitated. He wanted to argue, but the look on his wife's face, the desperate pull of his children's hands, an eerie calm the cat changed his words. Fine, he muttered, but we'll need to feed it. Give it water. And tomorrow we'll call someone. The children cheered softly, though their voices were hushed, as if afraid of scaring the trembling animal. The mother fetched a bowl of water. She placed it carefully near the corner. The puppy sniffed weakly, then pushed its muzzle forward. The sound of lapping filled the silence. Every drop it drank sounded like a victory. Luna never moved from her post. Sitting close, her tail curled neatly around her paws. She watched with calm authority, her eyes sharp and steady. The children crouched nearby, whispering softly. He's so little, so scared. The puppy finished drinking, then looked up at them, eyes wide, as if asking whether it was safe to breathe again. The father stood in the doorway, his hand still gripping the frame. He couldn't shake the thought. Who would leave a living thing here, alone in the dark? The basement felt colder now, less like a storage room, more like a hiding place. The mother gently brushed dirt from the pup's fur. We'll find out what happened to you, she whispered. I promise. Above them, the house was silent, too silent. And then, a sound, not from the basement. From outside, a crunch of gravel. Slow, deliberate, footsteps. The father stiffened. The children froze mid-breath. Even Luna's head jerked toward the sound, her ears twitching. Someone was outside their house. What would you do if you found a starving animal hidden in your home, and then heard footsteps outside? Subscribe and see the danger that comes next. The sound came again. Crunch, crunch, gravel shifting beneath heavy feet. The father moved fast, climbing the basement stairs two at a time. He flung open the front door, the night air hitting his face sharp and cold. At the end of the driveway stood a man, tall, shoulders hunched. His jacket hung loose, his hands buried deep in the pockets. He didn't move. He only stared at the house, as if deciding something. The father's voice cut through the night. "Who are you? What do you want?" No answer. The man's face remained hidden in shadow. Slowly, almost lazily, he turned. His boots scraped on the asphalt as he walked away, each step deliberate, unhurried. The father stepped off the porch, anger rising. "Hey, I asked you a question." Still nothing. The figure reached the edge of the street, then disappeared behind a row of hedges. Silence. When he returned inside, the mother was standing at the window, clutching the curtain. Her face was pale. The children huddled close, whispering in frightened voices. Downstairs, the puppy whimpered again. Luna pressed close to him, wrapping herself in a curl that looked almost maternal. "He was just watching," the father muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Didn't say a word. The mother's eyes didn't leave the glass. "He'll be back." The days that followed were uneasy. The puppy grew stronger little by little, though his ribs still showed and his eyes still darted at every noise. He followed Luna constantly, as though the cat's shadow was the only safety he knew. The children adored him. They gave him scraps, whispered secrets to him, named him Toby. He wagged his tail sometimes, but always with hesitation, like joy was something he hadn't yet learned to trust. But outside, whispers began. The neighbors noticed. They saw the children walking a thin, fragile pup down the sidewalk. They saw the cat herding him gently along, as if refusing to let him out of her sight. "They're hiding something," one voice said. "That dog isn't theirs," another replied. "I heard it was found in their basement. How does that even happen?" Soon, the family felt the weight of eyes. At the grocery store, at church, on the street, everywhere. People muttered about neglect, about secrets buried in walls. The mother tried to ignore them, but their words clung like cobwebs. Even the children came home from school, frowning. "Kid said Toby isn't ours. They said he belongs to someone else." At night, the father sat at the kitchen table, staring at the phone. His thumb hovered over the dial. "We should call, tell the police, or animal control. It's the right thing to do." The mother shook her head. "And if they take him? What if they put him back with whoever hurt him?" She lowered her voice. What if it was that man? The thought silenced them both. Toby slept on a blanket in the living room, always curled against Luna's side. The children lay on the rug nearby, whispering stories to him until they fell asleep. It almost felt like a family again. Almost. But the tension grew. Every knock at the door made the father stiffen. Every shadow across the window made the mother's breath catch. And always, Luna stayed near the pup, watching, guarding. Then came the night everything shifted. The storm had passed hours earlier. The streets outside were slick with rain, the air heavy with the smell of wet earth. The children were asleep. The parents sat in silence, the weight of unspoken fear pressing down. From the living room came a sound, a sharp bark. The mother rose at once, rushing in. The blanket lay empty. The space where Toby always curled beside Luna was bare. The cat sat rigid in the center of the rug, tail thrashing. Her eyes blazed at the front door. The puppy was gone. The blanket was still warm. The leash by the door still coiled neatly. No one had opened it. No one had left. And yet Toby was gone. The children cried out his name, their voices cracking in panic. The father yanked open doors, checked closets, stormed into the basement again, his flashlight cutting across empty corners. Nothing. The mother searched the yard with a lantern, her heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. The grass bent under her feet, wet from the storm. Every shadow looked alive. Every creak of branches made her flinch. But it was Luna who moved with certainty. The cat darted from the living room to the porch in a blur of fur. She sat at the edge of the driveway, tail flicking, eyes narrowed at the street beyond. When the father tried to scoop her up, she wriggled free. With a sharp cry, she bolted. "Wait!" the mother shouted, but the cat was already gone, vanishing into the night. The children sobbed. The father cursed. But the mother's eyes widened, realization dawning. She's not leaving. She's leading. And so they followed. Through the neighborhood they went, past familiar houses now dark and sleeping, past fences slick with rain. Luna darted between alleys, stopping only to glance back with an urgent glare, as if commanding them to keep pace. The family stumbled after her, breathless. She was sinking in wet earth. The farther they went, the stranger it felt. This wasn't a random chase. The cat knew. She was taking them somewhere. Finally, she stopped at a tall wooden fence. Behind it loomed a shed, its roof sagging, its door chained shut. From inside came a sound, a muffled cry. The children froze. Toby. The father shoved at the fence gate until it creaked open. The mother rushed in, lantern trembling in her hand. Luna was already at the shed door, claws raking the wood. She yowled, furious, her body rigid with urgency. The sound inside grew frantic. The puppy barked high-pitched, desperate. The father pulled at the lock, cursing under his breath. With one final jerk, it snapped loose. The door swung wide. Inside, Toby lay tied with coarse rope, his legs bound cruelly, his muzzle crudely wrapped with tape. His eyes glistened with terror. The children screamed. The mother fell to her knees, tearing at the bindings with shaking hands. "Oh, sweetheart! Oh, my God!" Luna crawled inside, pressing her body against the pup, licking at his filthy fur as if to soothe him. When the last knot came loose, Toby collapsed into the mother's lap, trembling violently. His tail wagged once, then twice, weak but alive. The father's face darkened with rage. Who would do this? A voice answered from the shadows. "I would." They spun around. The neighbor stepped forward, the same man who had lingered at the end of their driveway nights before. His face was pale in the lantern glow, his eyes flat and cold. "That much mine," he said. "You had no right to take it." The father's chest heaved. "Yours? You left it to die in my basement." The man sneered. "It was born weak, worthless. I was just getting rid of problem." The children clutched their mother, sobbing. The mother's voice rose in fury. "He's not a problem. He's a living creature." The neighbor's expression twisted. "You don't understand. That dog is nothing. You think you're saving it? You're just wasting your time." The father stepped forward, fists clenched. "If you ever come near my family again, near this dog again, you'll regret it." For a moment, the world went silent. The only sound was Toby's ragged breathing, Luna's low growl vibrating in the air. Then the neighbor's lip curled. He lifted his hand slowly, too slowly, his shadow stretching long across the shed wall. His hand rose higher, threatening, hovering inches from striking. The neighbor's hand hovered in the air, shadow long and dark against the shed wall. The father's fist clenched, ready to strike back. The mother tightened her grip on the children, holding them close, their small bodies shaking. Luna hissed so loudly it echoed to the yard, her tail thrashing like a whip. And then, "Police!" "Step away." Red and blue lights flooded the fence slats, painting the shed in flashes of color. 2 officers pushed through the gate, their voices sharp and commanding. The neighbor froze, his raised hand caught mid-motion. The father stepped back, his chest heaving, relief and rage colliding in his eyes. The officers pulled the neighbor aside, cuffing him while he spat angry words. "That much mine. It's worthless. You don't know what you're doing." But no one listened. His voice was swallowed by the crackle of the radios, the shuffle of boots on wet grass. The family stood together in the glow of the lantern. Toby whimpered softly, pressing his face into the mother's chest. Luna perched at her feet, gaze never leaving the man, as if daring him to come closer again. One of the officers knelt. His voice was gentler than expected. "This dog's been abused, malnourished, will be filing charges. He won't be going back to that man." The children gasped. "Does that mean he can stay?" The officer hesitated, then looked at the puppy trembling in the mother's arms. Yes, if you're willing. He'll need care, patience, a lot of love. The children cheered through their tears. The mother nodded fiercely. The father's shoulders sank, the weight of fear finally lifting. He already has a family, the mother said softly. He always did. The weeks that followed were a blur of healing. Toby ate carefully at first, never sure if food would vanish. But slowly, his ribs began to disappear beneath soft fur. His legs steadied. His bark grew louder. Everywhere he went, Luna followed. She curled beside him at night, her body wrapped around his small frame. When he whimpered in his sleep, she licked his ears until he quieted. When he stumbled in the yard, she stood guard, tail high, eyes sharp, daring the world to try again. The children treated them like twins. They're best friends, the youngest said proudly, watching them nap in a patch of sunlight. Luna knew all along, and maybe she had. But the whispers didn't stop right away. Neighbors still watched, still wondered. Rumors floated about the man, about the basement, about what had been hidden and why. The families stopped caring. They had their answer each night, when the puppy's tail thumped softly against the floor. Each morning when Luna padded into the kitchen, Toby at her side, as if reporting for duty. Each moment when laughter returned to the house, the kind that had been gone for far too long. One evening, the family sat together in the living room. The television was off. The children were sprawled on the rug, stroking Toby's ears. The cat stretched across the arm of the sofa, one paw draped protectively over the pup's back. The father stared at them, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "You know," he said, voice quiet, "if Luna hadn't stopped at that door," the mother reached for his hand, "we never would have found him." The children looked up. But she did. She knew. Yes, she knew. The house no longer felt heavy, no longer carried the silence of secrets. It was full of sound again, of soft barks, purring, laughter, of life. Toby would always carry the scars of his beginning, thin lines across his paws, a nervous glance at sudden noises. But he also carried something stronger, the bond of family who refused to let him vanish into the dark. And at the center of it all was Luna, the cat who had once seemed aloof, the cat who had planted herself before the basement door and refused to move, the cat who had protected something fragile until the rest of them understood. She hadn't just saved him, she had saved them all. That night, the children fell asleep on the couch, curled against Toby's warm body. Luna lay above them, her eyes half closed, yet still watching, always watching. The mother pulled a blanket over them, her voice breaking as she whispered, "Thank you, girl. You were the truest protector of all." The father switched off the lamp. The room sank into quiet, filled only with the steady breath of a dog who finally felt safe, and the soft purr of the cat who had known all along he was meant to belong. And so, in the small suburban house that had once hidden fear in its shadows, a new family was born, bound by loyalty, by love, and by the stubborn heart of a cat who refused to move.